Hey everyone, it's Joe Beethoven here, and I'm back for another masterful review that will finally make you understand what true friendship is and how to hold on to it for the rest of your life. If you don't understand these things by the end of this review, then maybe you actually need to play Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, because it is one of the most effective stories about friendship, family, and love I have seen this side of a Vin Diesel meme. If you watched my weekly update, then you know I was already a fan of this game, but it just got better and better the more I played it. Guardians of the Galaxy is a testament to what a Marvel game can accomplish without the constraints of the comics, the MCU, or any other Marvel video games. Gatka is a maverick. It does its own thing the way it wants to, and it does so just beautifully. I know I'm kind of skipping ahead by gushing so much in just the intro of this review, but this game really surprised me and impacted me, and I just felt the need to get that out of the way right out the gate. With all that said, let's grab our elemental guns and our band of lovable misfit friends and blast our way into the exciting and surprisingly emotional world of Star-Lord and the gang. Let's begin with the story of this galaxy-spanning epic. For starters, I avoided any story details for Gatka in the lead-up to its release. I wanted to go in completely blind so I could experience the game with no preconceived notions about how similar it was to any other version of the Guardians lore. And this choice of ignorance was definitely the right call because Gatka genuinely surprised me multiple times. Sure, it has some of the usual Guardians themes about unlikely friends coming together to be a team of heroes, and it definitely treads familiar ground when it comes to Rocket's borderline unbearable attitude and Drax's very literal style of humor, but the game takes all of these tropes and done-to-death jokes and puts them in a wholly original scenario that allows the expected to evolve into the delightfully unexpected. Now, this game is brand new, which is actually a first for me, so I will not be going into any spoilers here, but I will give the basic setup for the narrative and then share my thoughts on it with the broadest strokes possible. The basic premise is that the Guardians have gotten a potentially very lucrative contract from Lady Hellbender, the Beast Queen of Seknarf 9. The team's goal is to capture a mighty monster alive and bring it to Hellbender for a big payday. This contract leads to them illegally entering a quarantine zone in order to find and capture the beast. In true Guardians fashion, things go very awry. Not only do the Guardians not get the monster they need, they end up being arrested by the Nova Corps. However, they do end up with an adorable space llama for their troubles. If you make the right choices, that is. In order to fix all of this, the Guardians have to pay a hefty fine or else they will lose the Milano for good. This leads to various hijinks and misadventures involving Lady Hellbender, Cosmo the dog, and eventually the Church of Universal Truth, the main baddies of the game. Honestly, the first third of this game is deceptively small scale. The Guardians spend the first few hours entirely focused on paying the fine, and it almost seems like the game is going to be all about this, until this one little fine ends up growing into a massive galactic conflict. Okay, that's not exactly how it goes, but seriously, the way the story slowly develops into a true sci-fi epic is pretty well done. It goes from a simple story of 5 friends just trying to get by in the universe by handing out their business cards and seeing who's interested, to a story about explosive battles, evil cults, and giant monsters, and I could not get enough of it. It was a great choice to have the player only control Star-Lord. This allows the narrative to be laser focused. You only know what Peter knows, allowing for emotional and genuinely shocking reveals from the other Guardians and wonderful side characters that you meet throughout your journey. As an added bonus to the already excellent narrative, Gatka offers a number of player choices that have varying levels of impact on the story. From simple dialogue choices that affect how the characters interact in the moment, to bigger choices that alter entire gameplay scenarios and open up new options for how the story can unfold. None of your choices will change the ending of the story, but they do tailor the narrative specifically for you, making the experience feel very personal and unique for you. I won't spoil any of the major choices here, but I will give you one piece of advice. Keep the llama. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Of course, at the center of all this is our core cast of misfit heroes, the Guardians themselves. It doesn't matter how epic your sci-fi adventure is, if the character dynamics between Peter Quill, Gamora, Drax, Rocket, and Groot are annoying instead of engaging, then you end up with Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2. Luckily, Guardians of the Galaxy does an excellent job of handling these characters. In fact, this might be my favorite version of the Guardians, and really my favorite Guardian story that I've ever experienced. And I am a huge fan of the first film and of Telltale's Guardians, so that means a lot coming from me. The character designs and personality types are definitely reminiscent of the Gatka films, but the game manages to go beyond these existing archetypes and dive deeper into the Guardians than any movie, game, or show has managed to do up to this point. That is due both to the well-written dialogue and the superb voice acting talent on display. I'm honestly surprised that Square Enix didn't manage to shove Nolan North and Troy Baker into this game somewhere. But regardless, the cast does an incredible job delivering every line, pun, and quip. At first, I thought that Star-Lord sounded a little too surfer bra, but he ends up delivering some of the most emotionally impactful lines and speeches I have ever seen in a Marvel story. Plus, he's just downright hilarious. All of the characters are, really. They must have recorded a ridiculous amount of dialogue for this game because I heard very little repetition. Nearly every new line I heard was directly related to the situation I was in, and I often found myself laughing out loud at whatever absurd thing one of the Guardians said next. The main narrative offers wonderful character moments all on its own, but I would highly recommend keeping an eye out for the Guardian collectibles. These unlock optional conversations with the team on the Milano. These convos provide some of the deepest dives into each Guardian's past, mental state, and emotions that I've ever seen. If you do miss out on any of these items, there's a New Game Plus that you can use to go back and grab the rest, so don't sweat it. Overall, this is my favorite version of the Guardians in recent memory, and I really hope we get to spend more time with this cast in the near future. Having a great story and characters is one thing, but how does it actually feel to play as Star-Lord and co? Well, I don't actually know because you only get to play as Star-Lord, but you get my point. There are multiple layers to Gatka's gameplay, but you will be spending the majority of your time in combat. On the surface, the game's combat is pretty simple. You will be holding the left trigger to aim and holding the right trigger to shoot. However, as you unlock more abilities for Star-Lord and the other Guardians, you will find that the combat system actually has quite a bit of hidden depth. If you want to survive, you'll have to get good at using all the Guardians' abilities together. Each character has distinct moves that are pretty much all useful. Some are about damaging one enemy, others are about area of effect, or immobilization, or filling the enemy stagger meter. The better you get at using all of the characters' abilities, the more exciting and flashy the combat will become. Also, as you progress through the story, you will unlock different elements for Star-Lord's guns, which you can use to exploit enemy weaknesses as well as traverse through the environment. Finally, a fun aspect of combat is the huddle system. As you fight, you will build up the huddle meter, which allows Star-Lord to call the Guardians to his side for a pep talk. If you do it right, you'll get a bonus for all the Guardians, making them even more effective. You also get to listen to one of Star-Lord's groovy tunes while you fight, which is good because the game has an awesome playlist. Though, I do wish this version of the Guardians kinda had a theme song, like the movie version or the Telltale version, but really that's okay. It's still a great list. Overall, the combat is actually more akin to a modern Final Fantasy game than your typical superhero game, and it suits the game perfectly. When you aren't fighting alien monsters, you will be exploring and interacting with the absolutely gorgeous world around you. Seriously, this game looks kinda breathtaking. You'll jet boot your way through beautiful alien worlds, walk through the rundown streets of nowhere, and traverse intimidating Nova Corps flagships, all of which have different collectibles, costumes, and resources for you to find. The environments are quite linear, so most things are very easy to find, but some are quite cleverly hidden, so search carefully. The components you find can be used to purchase perks for Peter, some of which are quite useful. Others don't seem to make that much of a difference, but overall it still works. However, if you're even halfway decent at exploring, you will manage to purchase all of the perks well before the ending of the game, making all components worthless after that point. It's a minor issue, but I do wish there were more upgrades to purchase. Overall, Gatka's gameplay may not be the most original, but everything it does pretty much perfectly. Every now and then you might get trapped in the environment or the camera will focus on the wrong thing, but these are minor issues that don't really detract from everything this game does so well. I only had 2 major issues with the game. It did crash once in the middle of a huddle, which was frustrating, and the checkpoint system just doesn't really make any sense. It will say the game checkpointed a few seconds ago, but if you restart the checkpoint, sometimes you'll end up in a random spot, with a number of tasks you had already completed needing to be redone. I would recommend avoiding manually restarting any checkpoints. Once again, this is still an excellent game, so don't let these minor issues keep you from diving right in. So what's the verdict? As I said before, Guardians of the Galaxy genuinely surprised me. I came into this expecting a solidly fun experience with a cast of characters that I grew up with and love to this day. I honestly did not expect to be laughing out loud, jumping out of my seat, or actively crying multiple times. Gatka is a genuinely and shockingly fantastic game that I am so excited to play again, both to see the results of different choices and really just for the fun of it. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is a definite 9 out of 10 for me. It's not perfect, but I highly recommend that you grab this game ASAP. It is my favorite Guardians experience since the release of the first movie. If you want to have a hilarious and emotional journey with one of the best superhero teams in the business, if you want to learn the secrets of the galaxy, if you want to experience true friendship while simultaneously shooting the scut out of alien monsters, then don't miss out on Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Alright, that was video review number 7, and I still feel pretty darn good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and that you'll consider picking up Guardians soon. It really is an awesome game. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming Masterful content. Next week, I will finally get to upload my review of Quantum Break, so keep an eye out for that. I'm working on a couple more projects as well, which may or may not include ranking the Remedy games, reviewing the Halo franchise, and a really cool Alan Wake related project that I'm not ready to talk about just yet. There's a lot coming in this channel's future, and I hope you'll be there to see it. Alright, that's all for now. God bless you guys, and I'll catchphrase you later. Yep, you're gonna keep hearing that. Bye!